Hey y'all, welcome back. Before we get started, everyone watching this probably is wondering what in the world this is. My producer wants me to get it off my desk. So before I do, this is what I've been drinking like every day. I've been snapping it. I've been on my stories and I get a lot of DMs. Everyone's asking, what's that green drink you're drinking? Because it probably doesn't look the most appetizing, but it is so healthy for you. I'll leave the recipe below this video on YouTube, but it is tons of greens, fruit, peanut butter, protein powder. It's delicious. But before we get started, I'm going to put this below because it probably doesn't look great on camera. All right, you guys. So a couple of weeks ago, I dove into the topic of decisions, how decisions shape us, how they help us grow, and how that even just one decision can change the trajectory of our entire life. Diving into those stories of successful people and the decisions that they made, or the leaps of faith that they took, really got me thinking about y'all. What kind of decisions have y'all made? And how have those decisions affected your lives? I challenged y'all to send in videos of those life-altering decisions, and y'all seriously did not disappoint. It was truly so inspiring to listen to y'all's stories, and I appreciate y'all sending in so many videos. Anyways, with that being said, I want to share a few responses that I got, and I want to highlight the actions taken in each one because I think that we can all learn from each other. There is so much beauty listening to and understanding one another. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Okay, so these three videos definitely have a few things in common, but I chose them because while they all end in better places, their journeys are vastly different. The first video that I'm going to play for you was submitted by Melissa.
Hi, Paige. My name is Melissa Music, and I have not done any prep on this video. Like, I should actually probably go home and brush my hair, but to be honest, I just got your email and it's something that I feel passionately about. So I wanted to go ahead and respond before I got in my way and didn't respond. So one decision that absolutely changed my life. 26 years ago, at 18 years old, I enlisted in the military. I was in the Air Force for 8 years, which that in of itself is not a huge thing. Lots of people do it. But I grew up in a very poor community and a poor family, not just monetarily, but also mindset-wise. It was kind of expected that I would grow up and I would graduate high school and I would go and work at the textile mill that everyone else in my family worked at. And that was it. But for some reason, well, I know why. Early on, I became a passionate, voracious reader. And books opened my eyes to the world that was outside of my little bitty textile town. And I knew that I wanted to, A, be a college graduate, and B, get out of my town and see the world. And the Air Force afforded me both of those opportunities. At 30 years old, I eventually graduated from college, but it did so much more for me. So I can, without a doubt, say, and I say it often, two things that changed my world. A love of reading. It just changed the trajectory. And joining the military. It got me out of my environment, around other people who were professionals and that didn't look like me or sound like me and weren't from the same South Georgia town. And it has honestly changed my life. That one decision 26 years ago. And it's been wonderful. I don't know. I won't go on and on. But anyway, I got your email and I didn't want to hesitate in replying because I knew that I would get in my own way and not. But whether it goes anywhere or not, I just wanted to tell you, without a doubt, that one decision to take a different path than my family expected. Changed my life, and it still is today. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Melissa. First of all, I absolutely loved your story. Not only was her story about a single decision that changed her entire life, but she completely made decisions that prepared her when that time came. I also love that it was so evident that she continued to do this and she didn't allow herself to get in her own way, and she took the leap. And she also submitted the video. She was actually the first person to submit a video. I admire so much that she actually did take a leap of faith and put herself out there. She got out of her comfort zone and didn't even practice, and she just made that video. It is so often way too easy to allow ourselves to remain comfortable and complacent. But growth comes from when we are challenged. Seeking knowledge and finding ways to improve ourselves will always lead to greater opportunity. The next story that I want to highlight was submitted by Christine.
Hey Paige, love you, huge fan of you. The one decision that I could have made, but I chose to go a different direction, was I almost went into the military. My dad was a Marine. Basically, when I was 21, I had years of being the black sheep of my family. I had mental disorders like PTSD, major depression. I had low self-worth. I dated guys who were abusive. I dated one guy at the time who was a drug dealer, so I was a major pothead. I also got caught with grand theft, larceny, shoplifting. So I was basically a mess. Dropped out of school, stopped going to my job because I was too high to go. And basically my dad instilled in me that he was like, you know what, you don't have any direction. You need to go into the military to basically fix you, or you're going to end up in prison. So 8 months doing PT, which is basically preparing to go into the military. Did all my paperwork, got all like these clearances, and I finally go to the place called MEPS, where you have to sleep there overnight. You're with a whole bunch of other kids who are going there to sign their life away to the military. And you're supposed to pick your boot camp date when you go. So I slept overnight with all these kids. We're all nervous. We all get on the bus. We go to the place where we're supposed to be at when we sign our life away to the military. And I have all of my paperwork in my manila folder. And I'm in this line with all these kids at the first station with the sergeant who's at the desk who writes your name down. And then you pass her. And then you go through this whole day of basically signing it for the military. I approached the lady and I just had this gut-wrenching feeling that I was supposed to be doing something else with my life. And that if I did this, it would be a huge, monumental mistake. So I looked at her and the sergeant was like, ma'am, your paperwork, ma'am. And I just kind of was like, I have to leave. And I left. And driving home, which was an hour and a half away, my dad happened to call me and I'm like in good spirits. I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to be doing something different. And my dad's like, hey baby, I'm so proud of you. You're really doing this with your life. You're finally going to get that direction that you need. This is going to set you up for life. And I was like, dad. I left. And he was like, you what? And I was like, I left. And he was like, okay, I'll talk to you later. And then 2 weeks went by. When we talked again, I was like, I know that you're disappointed and I know this would have set me up, but I feel like I'm so close to getting it. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to go on social media and inspire and impact a lot of people with fitness and health, and that's supposed to be my thing. And at the time, that wasn't a thing, like 9 years ago, as you know. And he was just like, yep, totally, okay. And that's what I did. And today, I've amounted to 200,000 something followers on Instagram, have my own gym with my husband where we impact people on a day-to-day basis. Throughout this process, I've overcome emotional eating behaviors like binge eating, eating disorders by bulimia. I've overcome major depression, anxiety, PTSD, fixed my gut health, got rid of my breast implants because for me, they were making me sick. And I'm excited that every day I get to impact someone genuinely because I want to, because I know what it feels like to be at rock bottom and to climb out of that through God and his healing, and to be able to impact someone and encourage them that, hey, if I can do this, you can too. But basically, in a nutshell, if I had made that one decision, I genuinely believe I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't change a thing of what I did choose to do. So that's my story.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Christine. It's kind of crazy because I've known Christine through social media and I never knew her story. And I think that it is so inspiring to hear people's stories. Doing this podcast and doing this episode, I was even inspired by listening to her video and these videos, because real people with real stories, I just find it truly magical. Okay, Christine's story and Melissa's story are pretty similar. They both had pivotal decisions to enroll in the military. Although Melissa did enroll, Christine did not. I love how she chose not to do something. So that one big decision was choosing not to do it. Sometimes taking a different path than you thought you would, or that other people wanted you to, could actually be your saving grace. I would also categorize Christine's one decision as the leap of faith, like Oprah's. She chose not to go into the military with the little to no knowledge of what decision would mean for her life, and also knowing full well that her father was going to be really upset. That is difficult, so difficult, but sometimes so necessary. This kind of action is what I am referring to when I mention not putting yourself in a position where you are disappointed 5 years from now, especially if the alternative makes you uneasy. Okay, let's go into this next story, the last story. This story was submitted by Nicole.
Hi Paige. So my name is Nicole Martinez. I've actually followed you for a very long time. I am a previous Fit and 5 member as of 5 years ago. But I thought I would share my moment that changed my entire life, or decision that changed my entire life. And so I've made this video a few times and I keep crying, so bear with me. But this past October, I lost my son at childbirth, and it was groundbreaking and earth-shattering and just the most unexpected thing. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that something like that would ever happen to me, and it did. And then 4 months later, I got pregnant again, and I had a miscarriage. So it's safe to say I put my experiences put me in a very, very dark emotional state and a scary place. So all that to say, one day I decided, you need to do something for you. I have 3 other kids. I've been a stay-at-home mom for years. I've never accomplished anything in my life. I barely graduated high school, to be honest with you. So, I woke up one day and I'm like, we're going to do something for you today. And I decided to dive right into something I've always been appealed to, or that appealed to me, and that was yoga. I've never tried it. I've always been very attracted to it, learning about it, watched it, looked at Instagrams of it, but never tried it myself, thinking, well, you're not flexible, so why would you do yoga? Like, you're gonna make yourself look like an idiot. But I tried it. I just decided, go full throttle. I started a challenge, a 30-day challenge. I didn't skip a day. And that simple decision sounds silly, but it completely changed my life. It put me in a place where I'm now almost a NASM certified personal trainer. I'm going to be a Pilates instructor. I'm going to get that certification as well. And I'm going to hopefully open my own wellness studio here in Bozeman, Montana. A lot of exciting things are in my future from just doing something so out of my comfort zone and forcing myself to stick to a commitment of something that's always appealed to my heart. And I really wanted to share. I feel like I have a great story to kind of bond with other women and show other women who are going through infertility or child loss or any type of loss in general that I am a witness that it can get better and you can still be your own human, even if you are a mom going through all these other mental issues as well. And yeah, I figured this was kind of my chance to share that. And yeah, that was really hard for me to say. So hopefully it all makes sense. And I'm glad that you gave people an outlet to share their choices. I think that's great. And thank you so much.
I appreciate you sharing, Nicole. Thank you so much. I know that was probably kind of intimidating to make a video, but to be honest, I was holding back tears, and so was my producer, because your story is just incredible. And it also reminds me of my own decisions and actions. Nicole, like so many of us, she's experienced devastation and heartbreak and loss. And she was in a place in her life where she could make every excuse not to move forward. I know that we've might all been there at some point in time. We might feel that, life is too heavy, too hard. And it might be hard to make a positive change, but she pushed through and she fought against the negativity and the hardship and how she was feeling, which I just find truly incredible. And I just think her story is so inspiring. It's definitely not easy to go through a loss and to come out the other side stronger than ever before. But that is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that every single decision that you make, every action that you take, it truly, truly matters. Some decisions in your life may seem insignificant, but even the smallest decision can have the biggest impact. Days that seem mundane and unimportant might be the days you look back 5 to 10 years from now and thank God for. I share these stories with you because while I already talked depth about decisions, including mine, I wanted to highlight some of y'all's and show you how much we all actually really do have in common. How amazing would things be if we focused on what we have in common rather than what divided us? There are so many times in life where we all stall ourselves and fall into a pit of negativity because of comparison. We see the highlight reels on social media of other people's lives and decide that most people have it easier than we do, but that just isn't true. Everyone at some point in their life struggles. Everyone at some point is faced with some sort of crossroad, and everyone goes through hardship. I would love to challenge us all to have compassion for each other and give ourselves some grace. We are all on this crazy journey, and our journeys are far from over. All right, y'all, I'm so excited to share the 5 ways today. So here are 5 ways to listen and understand each other's stories and apply what we've learned to our own lives. Stop the comparison game. The only way to truly understand another person's story and learn from it is to stop comparing theirs to yours. Yes, we all have things in common, but we are also all wildly different and unique. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to another person's chapter 20. See how they live their lives and take some positive learnings from them to apply to your own life. Take action for yourself instead of feeling sorry for yourself because you're not like anyone else. Take advice with a grain of salt. People, especially your friends and family, mean well and typically want the best for you. However, they may not know what's best for you. Just like Christine's story, her dad wanted her to join the military. He thought it was for her best path, but it wasn't. At the end of the day, you know yourself and you know your situation better than anybody else. Your happiness, remember, is up to you, and it is the most important thing. Trust the process, trust yourself, and trust your gut. Listen well and understand where people are coming from, but please make your own decisions. Be patient with people. I'm sure you've heard it. Patience is a virtue, and boy, is it true. It can be super difficult, and it can almost seem impossible when you or others are at a crossroad, but it's important to ride out that storm. You never know what point people are in their journeys. Be okay with the fact that you won't always understand why people do what they do, but they may be in the middle of something that is defining them at that time. Slow down. I know life can come at you fast sometimes. It can feel soul-crushing and frustrating and almost comical when you are thrown curveballs. But I'm here to tell you that it is okay to stop, breathe, and elevate. Decisions and actions are important, but they can also take time. Some decisions are made on the spot, while others are thought through. Make a pro and con list. Seek advice, but with a grain of salt. Explore your options and find peace with your decision. The best decisions are the ones that you end up feeling the most peace about. Life, it doesn't have to be rushed because you are in charge, and that is the beauty. Know that moods are contagious. Moods, especially bad ones, are so contagious. If you surround yourself physically or virtually with people who are in a bad mood or live that victim mentality, then you are not going to get anywhere. Just as you wouldn't if you were in a toxic relationship, engagement, marriage, you do not want a toxic friendship because it will absolutely stunt your growth. You are on a path and a personal journey, and you do not want to let negativity get in the way of your success. Also, exude positivity and light because your mood also affects others. You may notice that there is always a bit of a theme on the 5 things. A way to improve internally, ways to stop worrying about external factors, something mental, and always making time to slow down and reflect. I am seriously so thankful for y'all and your ability and willingness to open up and be vulnerable. I want to give a huge shout out to Melissa, Nicole, and Christine. Thank you so much for getting outside your comfort zone, making those videos. I know that it probably wasn't easy, and I appreciate it so much. I also want to give a giant thank you to everyone who sent in videos. You guys are amazing, and it was so awesome to listen to your stories. Y'all's vulnerability is truly inspiring. And the same way that when y'all listen to my podcast or I've listened to my story and have been inspired, I hope that their stories truly inspire y'all. So thank you so much. Remember that the decision you make today could change your entire life, and decide to take action because that is so important. That is all for me today, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go to Apple Podcast and rate and review. Follow me on social media at Paige Hathaway and continue to share your stories with me. I would love to find out more ways to incorporate them into this show. Y'all are truly the best. And I just want to also thank my team who helped me with this podcast and everything in my daily life. Y'all are awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye.